Lately, you've been feeling alone, and I need you to hear this clearly. It's not a coincidence. It's a consequence. The noise fades, the invites stop, the "where you at" texts disappear, and at first, that silence hurts. You pick up your phone, nothing. Weekend comes, no plans. You realize nobody's looking for you, and your chest gets that hollow feeling like, damn, so this is what it is. But here's the truth nobody teaches men, especially fathers. Loneliness isn't the problem. Loneliness is the receipt. It's proof you stopped paying for life with your dignity. Because loneliness doesn't arrive by accident. It arrives when you start growing faster than your environment can tolerate. It arrives when you stop laughing at jokes that aren't funny, when you stop hanging around conversations that go nowhere, when your priorities change, when you stop settling for cheap dopamine, cheap thrills, cheap company, and you start demanding results. And people notice. They don't always talk about it, they just drift. Not because you changed, but because your growth forces them to face what they've been avoiding. And most people would rather lose you than lose their comfort. So if you're alone right now, good. Because real power, real wealth, real identity is built in solitude. Not because being alone is cool, but because solitude is where you finally hear your own voice without interference. No distractions, no opinions contaminating your decisions, no masks to maintain, just you. And the truth. And the truth is this. Most of the people around you weren't around because they valued you. They were around because you were useful. Let me say that again. You were useful. You were the therapist friend, the always available friend, the guy who listens to everybody's problems while nobody checks on yours. You were the one who kept the vibe alive. And the moment you stopped performing, they vanished. And I know that hurts because it makes you question everything. Was I ever really loved? Was I ever really respected? Did I do something wrong? But ask a better question, did you lose something valuable, or did the mask finally fall? Because a lot of friendship in this world is convenience wearing a friendly face. And now that you're stepping into your mission, your discipline, your fatherhood, your future, you're no longer convenient. You're no longer bending your schedule for people who don't build with you. You're no longer sacrificing your peace just to avoid feeling alone. And that's why the silence feels loud. Because you're detoxing. Let's call it what it is. You're withdrawing from external validation. Your brain got used to those tiny hits, a text back, a laugh, a "you coming?", a like, a comment, a notification, and now it's gone. So you feel the crash. But that discomfort, that's not your life falling apart. That's your nervous system relearning how to live without begging for attention. And this is where the rich baby daddy mindset is born. Because poor baby daddy can't sit in silence. Poor baby daddy needs noise. He needs company. He needs to feel chosen. He needs to feel included. So he compromises his values just to belong. He stays in relationships that drain him because at least I'm not alone. He keeps friendships that disrespect him because at least I got people. He stays broke, but socially active. Rich baby daddy, he can be alone and still feel full because he's building. He's reading while others are partying. He's training while others are coping. He's stacking while others are spending. He's planning while others are scrolling. And when you live like that, you start losing people. Not because you're better than them, but because you're no longer available for nonsense. And here's the secret. The man who learns to be alone without destroying himself can't be manipulated because he doesn't need crumbs. He doesn't sell his standards for company. He doesn't trade his future for a temporary feeling of being wanted. That man is free. And freedom makes people uncomfortable because they can't control you with guilt anymore. So let me ask you something. How many times have you silenced your real opinion to keep the peace? How many times have you forced yourself to be cool with something that you weren't cool with, just so you wouldn't lose people? How many times have you betrayed yourself just to avoid being alone? Yeah. And now that you're alone, you're finally seeing what it feels like to stop betraying yourself. That's why it hurts. Not because you need people, because you're realizing you used people to avoid yourself. And now you don't have that escape. So here comes the real test. Can you sit with yourself, no distractions, and not hate what you find? Because if every quiet moment makes you anxious, if every silent night makes you reach for your phone, if you can't be in your own room without needing stimulation, that's not loneliness. That's a broken relationship with yourself. And listen, you can have 1,000 friends and still feel empty. You can be in a relationship and still feel alone. Because real loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of real connection. And the first real connection you have to rebuild is the one with you. That's why this season is sacred. Because loneliness isn't the destination, it's the process. It's the desert season before the upgrade. Every man you respect, every builder, every legend, had a season where it was just them and the work, not punishment, preparation. Because greatness isn't built in noise, it's built in silence. But I'm gonna keep it honest. Loneliness has a dark side too. If you sit in it with no direction, it turns into bitterness. You start telling yourself, everybody fake, people don't care, love ain't real, life unfair. And that story feels powerful, but it's poison. Because resentment makes you feel right, but it also keeps you stuck. So here's the move. Replace resentment with curiosity. Instead of, why did they leave me? Ask, what did this reveal? Instead of, nobody cares about me, ask, who have I been giving my energy to and why? Instead of, the world is against me, ask, what can I build anyway? Because it's not always your fault what happened, but it is always your responsibility what you do next. And this is where rich baby daddy energy takes over. You use the silence. You use it to build skills. You use it to get your body right. You use it to stack money. You use it to heal your patterns. You use it to become the type of father your daughter can feel safe with. And once you do that, here's the paradox. When you stop needing people, people start noticing you. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. When you stop begging for connection, you start commanding respect. But you have to survive the quiet first. So if you're in that quiet right now, don't treat it like a curse. Treat it like a forge. Because loneliness is the crucible where titans get made. It burns off weakness. It kills excuses. It forces responsibility to be born. And one day, you'll look back and realize the silence didn't break you. It built you. It turned you into the man the crowd can't touch, can't manipulate, can't distract, can't control. And that is real power. Not being liked, not being included, not being popular, being solid, being the kind of man who can walk alone and still walk forward. So if this hits you where you live, subscribe, activate the bell. Because on this channel, we don't sell fantasies, we build identities. And comment these 2 words so I know you're really on this path. Necessary solitude. I'll see you in the next one.